but wants to dump them into penury after graduation, while its citizens wallow in disease without timely treatment amid opulence among political elites. 2, 3, and 4 of the Standard today is well laid out for you this particular story. Make sure you grab a copy. Aspirants UDA polls a sham began on Friday, and we shall be discussing that, how it went down. We saw some of officials beaten black and blue. They are hospitalized right now, and ODM is opting for consensus, even as we can see the competitive elections happening within UDA. We shall also be looking at that as well with our panelists. State to revise next budget by 350 billion shillings. State had projected to spend 4.2 trillion shillings in 2024-2025 financial year. And we saw the president really announcing this last, or the beginning of this month, where we have revision of this because they've not really been hitting the target as far as revenue collection is concerned. And experts are warning that the taxman's failure to hit revenue targets presents the government with no other alternative but to reduce its projected expenditures plans for the next financial year, but up to 350 billion shillings, unless it implements some of its spending taxation measures, including the introduction of a major vehicle circulation tax and the controversial withholding tax on farm produce as well. You have a story on page 4 of the Daily Nation today. Schools in flooded areas to remain closed. That is what Machogu said. And they have actually postponed this particular reopening to May the 6th. That is a story that you need to know this morning, that schools have been the reopening of the schools have been postponed until May the 6th to just see how the situation will be on the ground as far as the floods are concerned. Will it have tapered off by then? So they're not really subjected or exposed to risks as it is right now. Also, as Mio leaders defend Atwoli, we rend you about the story. You all the wise as far as this is concerned. Kaini Chonjo Bado Halisi Hali. That is what Time for Leo is holding today. And US funds loses a 4-year tax battle from Java house sale. That is another story there inside the Business Daily. Uganda to supply maize to Zambia. Interesting. Maybe we can just begin from here as well, Hillary, because Zambia is a place where also we saw Mithika Linturi seeking to have maize grown there and then exported to Kenya. Now Uganda is supplying maize to Zambia. What could have happened?
Thank you, Debal. I accompanied the president, by the way, in his state visit to Zambia last year. And one of the things I picked in Zambia, because I had an opportunity to have a session with my counterpart from Uganda. We went on to visit his younger brother, who is a farmer, all the way from Uganda to Zambia. And he's been there for, now by the time we were in there, he'd been there for 10 years, doing serious farming. Now, it wouldn't really be surprising that we're getting reports now that Uganda is supplying Zambia with maize because, of course, of most likely the relationship that is existing there and the production. You know Uganda is doing very well. Mm-hmm. As to whether or not Kenya and Zambia's remember commentary then by the CS about going to Zambia farming and all that. Your guess is as good as mine. Because remember there was an outcry, by the way, that time about that pronouncement. And a conversation went across, both from the side of the CS saying, look, we can as well just even go and farm in Zambia. Or, you know, the issue became a completely sort of uncharted waters because people are saying, why do we go that direction when we can actually farm here and sell the produce, make money, create market, and also give our farmers an opportunity to farm and sell to their neighboring country. And so it's not surprising because it's something that definitely we did not, as at that time, encourage these Kenyans. Everybody spoke negatively about it. And I'm sure, though I'm not speaking now, of course, for the seers, I'm sure that did not attract the conversation, hence sort of died a burning.
Okay, so this is where actually this story about the incompetence of the seers really was arising. since then, because we had also Dr. Mosukotanwe of Zambia who came forward saying, you know, we were non-committal on the plan announced by CS Linturi. And it said also Zambia is unable to meet Kenya's immediate grain requirement, but offered between 20,000 hectares to 40,000 hectares for growing the crop. The announcement that the Zambia maize is expected in August did not go down well with the Kenyan Farmers, of course, Association. So we see this altercation beginning from that particular sentiments. But now, when we see such headlines to Zambia, it seems they didn't have the capacity even to supply. Yes. So what really informed CS Linturi is, you know, seeking Zambia to maybe have their given or maybe just offer some of the acreage to grow the grain and supply.
The way I see things, not only in maize, but I see it in many issues. There's an issue of mixing governance with politics. I know they are keenly interrelated, but in politics, particularly when you're campaigning, you can almost say anything, because the objective then is to change the perception and get people to vote for you or vote for your party, and it ends with the vote. Now, when you come to governance, then everything you said will have to be followed up, because people are expecting results and products and services. So my take on this thing is the minister, people like the minister, what they do, even when they're still thinking of an idea, when they're having a concept, they come out and announce it as something that is going to happen. It is good if you go to a country and you say, you know, this land is very fertile and there's a lot of land, we can come here and plant maize, and then somebody says, yeah, there's no problem, we can do that. I mean, that time you're having a casual discussion, or even if it's a serious discussion, it is possible. But you can't come back and get to the airport and then announce Kenya is now going to take land to lease land in Zambia and plant maize. That is something you do when you actually have gone in, agreements have been made, plans have been made. It's something you do, and within a month or so, you have people going out there doing it. That is when you announce that kind of thing. So what I'm seeing is casual talk. You are speaking to the gallery all the time, but there's time that you should speak to service delivery. It is now clear if Uganda is to supply maize to Zambia, it means there is no maize in Zambia. Or maybe there is capacity, but it's not being produced. So I think the problem, talking too early to the gallery and not attending to the details of what will produce the results that are expected. So when nature, I saw the deputy president yesterday said, do not dare nature. You must respect nature, and you must respect practical realities, so that when you say this, you have things in plan, you have moved ahead, you'll produce. Not just say for people to feel happy, and then nothing happens, and later on it turns that it was a hoax. So I think it is in seriousness or pronouncements, and it is not linked to the reality of planning and implementation. I think that's where we have a problem.
All right, so are you one of 119 MPs who are seeking his impeachment?
Yes, I signed for it.
You signed for it?
I signed it because the minister now, we've known him for long. And in my view, it's not that when you get to a new position, you certainly become different and you can deliver in a different way. He has had issues even before. Remember, he himself was planning to impeach Anne Waiguru when he was in the cabinet, and he collected signatures. We even signed for him then. It was even in the order paper. The afternoon we sat there, we were waiting. Now, he didn't appear. Now look at that. The whole house is waiting. If you have signed and suddenly you are not appearing, how can you be trusted with that? And even before that, he has had issues that probably wouldn't have to come here, even at personal level relationship, where you say we are living as a couple, are married, and then suddenly now there's no marriage. So it's probably the same thing. If now there was maize, now there's no maize. Then at one time there was marriage, now there's no marriage. That one time there is impeachment, now they will, I'm not doing any impeachment. I'm seeing a very clear trend. So I think a person like that, I find it difficult that we trust him with such an important aspect of our life, agriculture. That's the mainstay of our economy in terms of food and even in terms of the cash economy that we have in this country. So I signed.
You signed?
Yeah, I signed.
All right. Okay, let's hear from Makalimulu. Now it's time to, tell. Yeah.
Actually, I signed twice.
You signed twice?
I signed one for the current one, and I signed one which was being spearheaded by Robo.
Actually,
he still had to tell me what did happen to my signature, because he has not said that.
So that there are two actually of them running concurrently.
Actually, the first person who was initiating that move was Honorable Ruku, seated here. So my first signature is with Ruku.
All right. Before we come to the Senate,
I signed the second one for Kwaboka. And unfortunately, I don't know what happened, but Kwaboka now seems to be ahead of Ruku's. So Ruku will tell us what happened to his, because have they matched them? Or has he done the normal thing is done by people who collect the signatures? Because we know what
or was he on the sidelines?
That's what I'm saying.
Were there other conversations that, hey, you should slow your roll, slow your roll?
Side conversations. But anyway,
it did.
I think what you're saying, Dubao, is basically, and cabinet secretaries should avoid this. You know, I think they get excited of the moment and talk a lot. Some things need very serious thinking, and they need due diligence in terms of before you pronounce. That you'll have done your ground check, you'll have done a lot of research. I see a situation where they just get excited and they make political statements, and that's why you see someone will say something today, and in 2 or 3 months then they backtrack, because what they say they've not done research on it. So we just encourage the idea of we are sending Kenyans to Zambia to go and plant maize and then sell it to Kenya. You can even imagine the kind of, because Kenyans were even asking. Agriculture is a very labor-intensive sector. So even when you say you plant maize in Zambia, not in Kenya, and we have our land, you're actually sending our labor there so that we can have our young people also engaging in the same activity here. And these are the issues we're asking. The other thing is, when you plant maize there, then there will be the issue of transportation costs, bringing it back to Kenya. Will that make it cheaper than we are buying it here? So to me, we are just simply saying that our cabinet secretaries should take time before they say anything and consult their technical people, because there are a lot of technical people who are experts in those areas, so that they are advised accordingly, and then on the basis of that, go out there and then pronounce to Kenyans what they think will happen. But we've seen many times that they just come, they talk, and because you have just talked and you have not done a research, within a very short time, nothing is happening. The truth of the matter is, this statement, what it says is, there's shortage of maize in Zambia. So Uganda is pushing now maize to them. And you know, Uganda naturally very fertile in terms of agriculture. They do a lot of agricultural activities. Actually, I think it's only among the few countries in Africa who are food sufficient in terms of feeding their people. And on the basis of that, they normally have even excess. Zambia, I don't know that we can claim Zambia to be, okay, they have land, but I don't think they have even exploited their land to the maximum. They're not doing agriculture or farming to the extent expected of that country, because if they did, they will actually also be supplying a lot of food to the rest of Africa. But I think Zambia, they have their own issues. You know, they are one of the countries who are struggling seriously with debt, issues of public debt. They are actually in problem. They are in distress.
Thank you.
So I think that the issues of management, there are more issues than just planning maize.
All right, let's turn the spotlight now to Honorable Ruku. Good to see you. You slept through the alarm today, right?
My many apologies depart for...
It depends where you were last night. That one really matters as well. It could have affected your morning, but good to see you.
I slept late.
You slept late.
I had my alarm very well. How I went back to sleep, I don't understand.
Or maybe you had that predicament where sometimes you actually think
subconsciously.
No. Subconsciously you think that you've woken up. Now you're preparing yourself. You're moving, and when you're about to open the door is when now you wake up and you realize, oh whoa. But good to see you. I want to just to prime you, but because looking at the Daily Monitor, You can see where Uganda is supplying maize to Zambia, and we are just harking back to where we had the CS talking about, dedicating a huge acreage of land in Zambia, having spoken to that government by then that then they should grow some grain for us. But now this is the latest. And we are just juxtaposing this with the impeachment motion that is on. And I wanted just to begin by asking, are you one of the members who also have signed up amongst the 119 for the impeachment of the CS?
Yes, I'm one of the members.
So that this is running concurrently with what impeachment you had before?
We cannot have two impeachment motions at the same time.
Indeed, but what is that? I wanted just to get very limpid and clear what is happening. Was there an impeachment motion? What was it that you had before?
Yes, I was in the process of preparing an impeachment motion, but we decided to withdraw. I withdraw and merge one motion with Honorable Kwamboga, and that's exactly what we are doing, and that's why I resigned.
Okay, hang on. I need to sort out your mic so that once you'll tell us more clearly. I don't want disruption from the mics. But this will be coming to the Senate as well? I don't know if you've had that conversation as well.
Well, remember there is an ongoing investigation by the Agriculture Committee in the National Assembly and the Senate. And the Senate committee has been running with this for quite a while now, from the time it became a national conversation. Remember, Dibal, agriculture was one of the flagship projects of Kenya Kwanza government. It is one among the top 5. Agriculture is very key. It's critical. And when we began the year 2022-2023, when the first batch of the fertilizers, of course, went through to the farmer, and we have even on this roundtable had a conversation about the enhanced production, owing to that support and subsidy on the program that began immediately. This issue has just come in the second phase. So the Committee on Agriculture has closely been monitoring this one. This committee headed by Senator James Muranko from Kirinyaga. And indeed, whatever the outcome, if that committee gives a report, that report will definitely be a report that we will have as a Senate. But direct question now as regards this impeachment motion that is ongoing in the National Assembly. If someone is culpable, then they must carry the cross. And we have actually said that if you are the person who is coming in to block what ought to be a direct benefit to the farmer and an ultimate performance scorecard that will improve the performance of Kenya Kwanza government and support our people, then we called it tutapita na wewe. Later on, then we ask, and by the way, who that was. And so, if it's about taking responsibility, the CS should and must take responsibility. And I definitely will agree with my colleagues that we cannot allow people to sabotage programs because it amounts to that. And so I know it's not going to come to the Senate because that is within the mandate of the National Assembly, but I would entirely support such a move to make sure that we get the performance scorecard of each and every cabinet secretary put in office.
But I thought food security cuts across.
Of course it does. It does.
National government.
No, the impeachment of the cabinet secretary. But otherwise, of course, I definitely will endorse such a move to make sure that we enhance the benefit to the farmer.
Right.
And we support the programs that they can conduct.
Okay, let me get back to Honorable Ruko on this as well. Why are you in a tearing rush? Because the investigation is ongoing. You should have waited also for the Agriculture Committee to come up with the investigation, come up with a report that will have informed also the impeachment. Now, why are you going full steam ahead with the impeachment motion before they've concluded unless maybe I'm behind news, you could bring me up to speed and tell me.
Actually, because of what the committee on Departmental Committee of Agriculture and Livestock Development, the information which the committee is getting is the information which is informing us further the urgent need of moving a motion of impeachment against CS Rinturi. Because a lot of this, the questions which are asked by the Departmental Committee of Agriculture is not able to answer them with precision. And in the process, even other stakeholders or other organizations within the agriculture ministry, when you listen to them, you definitely see there is a criminal network which has been operated within the Ministry of Agriculture. And we have a responsibility as members of parliament or as a parliament to stand with Kenyans, especially the farmers of this nation. So that's why I think it is critical to move and continue with the motion of impeachment. It has taken us now 1.5 years. We have no excuse as the government why we should not be able to get things right. Before, in the first 1 year, we were trying to mend all the mess which Kenya Kwanza government found in place. For now, we cannot have any excuse. We have to get it right, and we have to support our president in getting it right. Remember, sometimes head of state can be twisted by the people he employed, by the people he put in position. What we will be continue telling the ministers is that we will not allow you to twist the arm of our president just because you have a political influence and you went around with him across the country. And now, if you're not able to perform your duty properly, because he gave you a job, we will come and rescue our president from any kind of arm twisting, so that the president can deliver. Because he has...
You're speaking in a very nuanced way. It seems you have a lot of info in terms of arm twisting, and sabotaging, the vision of the president. Why are you being editorial with the truth? You can actually just reveal, let it all hang out.
No, it is true. There is...
How is this sabotage?
There is blackmail. There's blackmail within the ministers who the president has appointed.
Within the ministers? So you're not
some of them. And I say this without fear of ever. Some of them. And, sacking a minister is not a very easy thing. You don't wake up and there are some political ramifications in the process. What we are saying is we are not going to allow that the work you are given by the head of state, you are not able to perform it properly, and then you run out there to blackmail the president so that he may not discharge you from your duties.
All right.
We as a house will do it because we believe the head of state has the right attitude in changing this country. He has worked extremely hard and difficult to get this fertilizer program working, to get the subsidy that the Kenyans now are paying 2,500 instead of 5,000 is a lot of work which has gone in place. And the man who has done this is the head of state, is the president.
All right.
Now, when he has worked so hard, then there are some other people within the Ministry of Agriculture or within the corridors of power who are likely to sabotage the entire program of the president to benefit the Kenyans, to get the food security right as far as this nation is concerned. We will not allow that to happen. We will stand on that gap and do what is necessary as Parliament.
Right, you're talking about ramification. Yes, Senator.
Yes, I wanted to just also add something to what Honorable Ruka said, particularly so that we don't lose the flow of this conversation about the sabotage aspect, which you sort of was asking, why can't we come very clear? Listen to what he just said. Before the subsidy program came in, fertilizers were being sold at 7,000 Kenya shillings. It came down to 2,500. A completely over 50% reduction in pricing. That in itself is definitely something that could have worked against a number of people who were doing business, selling to Kenyans at 7,000. This cartel is most likely part of the team that is sabotaging through the ministry. I am aware that there are some junior officers who've been charged in court over this same program. But the senior cadre, from the managing directors to the principal secretaries to the cabinet secretaries are still out there. Of course, we would understand that investigations probably could have been done and concluded from among the junior staff who are already before court right now. But then, if we are saying as Parliament, 119 signatures has come, there must be an aspect of standing for the right position to push and ensure that the program of enhancing production, supporting the farmer, honoring the promise that was made to the people of Kenya, let them that be, because remember, Parliament speaks on behalf of the people. These are the representatives of the people. And it's got nothing to do with targeting individuals here. It's all about the program that we say we promised Kenyans. We must also support the president to deliver on this particular promise to the people of Kenya.
Right, I just wanted to hark back to Honorable Ruku and ask you, there's a question of ramification, because now also this seems to be a very political, it has a very heavy political undertone. Coming from your area, it seems that now you're going against your own as it stands. It will blow back on you. It will blow back on your political ambitions as well at the end of the day.
Politically speaking, yes. But there come a time when we have to do the right thing for the nation. And I think we are in that moment.
Don't you see your community will look at it like you're fighting your own man?
We are in that moment, at the moment, that we have to choose what is right for the nation. And what is right for the nation is anybody who has been given a responsibility, higher office on behalf of the people of the Republic of Kenya. That person must be able to discharge his duties faithfully, must be able to discharge his duties with commitment, with dedication, and must be able to do it, what we say without fear or favor of any kind. And we have a CS of agriculture who has been given that responsibility, and all Kenyans have agreed that he has failed. I'm one of those Kenyans. And yes, he is from my community. But as I have said, there come a time, it's a difficult decision, yes, but this is the direction which we are going to take. Yes.
Okay. All right. You want to comment on it?
What Honorable Booker said and the Senator said, it's actually a very grim thing that there may be, or that there are, amongst the ministers, some, amongst the cabinet secretaries, some are actually sabotaging the president's programs. Now, that is gross, and it means we have a very serious problem, particularly the senators also further said that you may find within the system junior officers actually not doing the correct thing. It actually tells you the whole system isn't working well, because if the ministers are sabotaging, definitely the officers below them will not be supervised or will be allowed or part of the sabotage process. Because, so I think we should look at it in a more serious manner. I told you earlier that I actually signed for the impeachment. I'm now even more strongly convinced that it should happen. What is now coming out, and we should even look broader. We should even look at other cabinet secretaries, because if that is happening, then the head of state is probably working under a siege of people who do not mean well for the country. Obviously, however well the president means, it is the people around him that are responsible for the delivery. You have the vision, but the delivery of the vision are the people with you, starting with the cabinet. So I think I'm now more convinced this should be done, and as he said, supporting the president, even as he said, we kind of releasing him from these people around him. It's a very serious matter.
Let me add something on what I've just said. You know, my own brother went and bought a fertilizer, took it home. He took a video and sent it to me. It is maram. So the question is...
What do you mean?
Yeah.
It was maram?
Yes, maram. So the question is CS Rinturi my brother when things are wrong? And when things are right, he's not my brother. whether you are my brother or not, I think we have a responsibility to do what is right. And that's where we are.
Right. Maybe it's my turn now, Jibal. You know, Jibal, from what colleagues are saying, the truth of the matter is, when you are appointed as a cabinet secretary, you have a very clear mandate. And one of your mandates is to make sure that you assist the president in implementing the party manifesto. Because when we are campaigning, each coalition had a very clear manifesto. Maybe 1, 2, 3. So what the president does, he assembles a team. We should assist him implement that manifesto. And I think that's where the challenge comes in now. Because I think what is happening, and from what Honorable Ruku is saying, it appears like because of that campaign, you know, when we were the campaign, there was a number of agreements. It seems some people are taking advantage of those agreements, and they think that they can't be touched. They are untouchables, and on that basis, then they are not. And earlier, some of the things you did, some of our colleagues when they were talking earlier, I'll tell you. You could hear them now tying this impeachment with the president's impeachment so that they confuse Kenyans. That now that Honorable Ruku and Haas, who have signed, we are trying to impeach Duri, they are saying now, this will pave way for impeachment of the president so that people now become sympathetic with the president and they don't do away with Duri. I think time has come when everybody must carry his or her own cross. Duri, from the issues which have been raised, they're very serious. Actually, to me, from where I sit, I look at it as economic sabotage. You have a country which relies so much on agriculture, a country which is food delicious, and we're trying to make sure that we are food secure as a country. Year one, we do very well because God has been gracious and gave us enough rains. We are too where we are getting even excess rains. Yeah. And instead of now taking advantage of the rains, which we have no control over as a country, then you mess up the fertilizer input component, right, which is supposed to be helping us. Okay.
I think we've belabored that particular point for a month. We're still talking about it. But our question is, have we crossed the threshold? I can see there's concurrence right now between Azimio and Kenya Kwanza on this particular issue. Yes. So most of the legislators...
we have 110 members who have signed, which is above what is required.
Above what is required.
Yeah, so the numbers we have. It's not like the others who are saying in the political rallies that I will be pushing a motion. But this one, as far as the is already, I think it has been approved actually. It should be going to the order paper. And once we get it to the order paper, then what will happen now is debate. I hope now this time, Kwamboka will not disappear like it will disappear during
So it was Goro's motion of impeachment. It was a no-show.
You know, it was no show. Yeah. He was called to move the motion. Yeah. Was not, I hope Kwamboka
after some appearance in State House.
We'll be in the house to move the motion. We're called to move it. And then are you seconding him? Are you the seconder of the motion?
There's that proposal.
Because if you imagine...
I like that. There's that proposal. Consider it.
I would imagine that is the seconding because if the match is the true, and automatically one should be the mover rather than the second, and then supporters like us who have signed, then we come up and give it now.
And how then do we also, maybe you as legislators, hope that Mr. Ruku, as a seconder also will not be part of a crew that will be visiting State House.
No, if he does, then
then we have, like it was with Linturi before, and then there was a change of impeaching Anne Waiguru by then.
And actually, let me tell you, it's not even Linturi alone. What happened? There are other members who have initiated this move, and meanwhile it dies. And how it dies is now what you are saying. This side shows, they are called outside, and so you find our motion starting with a very, people are very active. It dies a natural death. So what we are saying is, what we'll be looking forward. But let me caution my colleagues who are politicians. Anybody who has attempted to do that, they have lost the respect of the House. And in the future, you attempt to do anything, nobody will trust you. So one of the things I would advise anybody to do, when you start it, make sure you finish it. You might lose on the floor of the House, you are better off. If you just lose the floor of the House. But if you just withdraw the motion or you disappear from the scenes, you'll have lost your credibility, and in that house people will take you just
Horbaruk. You've heard what he's saying. So actually you're treading on a very dangerous ground. Walking on eggshells on this. If you retreat, it will also have some political ramifications at the end of the day to you as well. That maybe some upper reaches of government's power have, spoken to you, you buckled under pressure, and you've given in.
But the thing is, yes, I was in the process of collecting signatures, and I didn't move forward in the process.
But what have really happened that you didn't move forward? You're not really telling us.
There are two collection of signatures.
But yours came first. No, yours came first.
No. Even we were at the same stage with...
which one will have gained more traction? The one which began or the second one?
We were in the same stage with Honorable Jack, at the same stage. So I opted to give that space to Honorable Jack.
Okay.
It's as simple as that.
Okay. Let's leave it at that.
I strongly believe in the motion, and that's why I signed. Yes.
Okay. All right. We finalize it unless you have anything to add on, Honorable Sigay.
I'm just looking
because what I wanted to ask, yes, even as you're holding the Constitution,
yes.
will come. Does it really meet the threshold of impeaching CS Linturi? Is it a gross violation? What will really constitute? Because that will be the debate on the House at the end of the day. Is this a gross violation of?
It is something that I wanted to speak to actually as a member of Parliament. Though the Senate will not be having this as one of its mandate, but it's in the National Assembly.
But we need to relook why the Senate is not really having, because you have the CSs also appearing before the Senate, isn't it?
Yes.
It doesn't make any lick of sense why then, if they appear before you, you question them on the same thing, and then you don't even get the power to actually be impeaching them or questioning. Why then does it have that particular forum?
There is a proposed amendment to the Constitution by Senator Cherargei that has got a raft of proposals. Among them is now a mandate to the Senate, first of all to vet, and thereafter even to pass an impeachment motion. It is something that is there. But as we speak,
so there's
right
a bill
now,
actually. Yes,
I think as we speak right now, there is now what the Constitution says. This is actually provided by Article 152. And as to whether or not it meets the requirement or the threshold, I believe it can, because, or rather it's something that will probably be debated before the floor of the House. And the grounds under 152(6) is gross violation of a provision of this Constitution or any other law, which I believe is the basis of the collection of the signature, and two, where there are serious reasons for believing that the CS has committed a crime under national or international law. Those are the two, and lastly, the third one, under 6Cs for gross misconduct. I believe one or even all of these grounds has informed the motion on the collection of the signatures. Now, this requires 1/4 of all the members of the Assembly, and that is why Honorable Makali was saying they have already achieved the numbers. 119 is beyond 1/4 of all the members. But what is critical, by the way, as a way forward or as a condition pre-resolution is the provisions of 152(7), Article 152 subclause 7, where it says if a motion under clause 6 is supported by at least 1/3 of the members of the National Assembly, which following the signatures collected, it has achieved, there are two things that needs to happen. One is that the Assembly shall appoint a select committee of 11 members. So after what they will have done as a House, then there will be a select committee of 11 members that will be selected to now investigate the matter. And under 7B, that particular select committee has got 10 days within which to report back to the Assembly on its finding on the allegations against the CS, to say it has been substantiated or it has not been substantiated. And it is at this point that the CS is given an opportunity to appear and defend himself before that select committee. And the committee has got two things that can do. It can report, say, the allegations are not substantiated, or that the allegations are substantiated. And now the substantiation of the allegations it is what will give the House to pass a resolution, which resolution now requires the President to dismiss the CS. So it's still a process that the Assembly has in order to make sure that it complies with the provisions of this particular constitution, and at the same time make sure that it gives an opportunity to the CS to defend himself as to whether the allegations are substantiated or not.
Right.
And for the benefit of Kenyans now, and for the benefit of the rest of us whom we are saying, none among the members of parliament would be seen to be hunting, is the procedure and the process that is required. Because the mover of the motion will definitely have some information. The member supporting it will have information to substantiate. And at the same time now, the CS will have an opportunity, and represented, by the way, so he can come along with his team, a battery of lawyers, to defend the allegations as to his culpability on the allegations or not. Mm-hmm. And so it's a process that is going to give everybody a level playground, including Kenyans, who also need to know what is going on.
Right. Honorable Council, you have no bugbears and fears regarding the standing order, article number 95? Put the question, well,
let's say on the unusual time that actually somebody says put the question because all the members have agreed. Well, there is this select committee, there's the process. But in my view, the fact that your colleagues have stated publicly that they, in their view, if it was to end with them, you would be going home. But however, the Constitution has provided a select committee which gives you a chance. Even if you are now protecting yourself, even if through other processes you survive through this committee, the message is sent to the public that the House, the National Assembly has done its duty, has brought you at least to the table to answer for what they think you have done wrong. I think that's a very important message that has to go to the members. And remember, once all the parliament has done that, your integrity has actually been eroded significantly, even if you survive through the committee. So I think it is an important thing, and it gives people a chance not only to look at what we have done now, although gross misconduct is a very broad thing. So you can say a crime, well, that you'll have to prove. Gross misconduct will, even what has happened with this fertilizer, even how you have conducted itself, even the procedures that we have gone through. You know, we were seeing that nobody even knew whether this was fertilizer or not. We shouldn't have gone to a situation where we are sitting in the Senate and asking whether this is fertilizer. The first step you would have said, this is what I put in place as a minister, and these are the technical people who worked under this, and this is the report they gave me. So what is coming before us, I don't know where it has come from. But that process wasn't followed. So I think it's a good thing. The process is good for justice, but the expression of the National Assembly as to what it wishes or would have liked to do is equally important.
All right. But you said gross violation or misconduct is a broad term.
Gross misconduct.
Misconduct. Yeah. So we need just specificity, because we'll come on the technical terms here. Then we'll say, oh, that does not really constitute a gross violation. So it is a moving target, as it seems, because someone will really argue on the technicalities of it as well at the end of the day.
I think,
briefly,
if you look at the motion, I'm sure there's some specific examples of what will amount to gross misconduct. I don't know, there's a replica of what Honorable Ruku had, but there were specific issues which have been listed, and which I think now that it's the work of the mover to move the House to that direction, that these are the issues and we agree with them. But some things are very obvious. You know, the thing is, if you're in charge of a ministry, and instead of giving me a bag of fertilizer, give me a bag of malam, like Honorable Ruku is saying, and there can be proof that it was actually malam. What other evidence do you need? One of my colleagues was telling me, who's a farmer in the Rift Valley, was telling me the way they would test whether fertilizer is good is even from a layman's point of view. You just pick it and put it in a cup of water. If it doesn't dissolve, you know there's a problem. If it is good, it will just dissolve and becomes it becomes like water. Because that's what is expressed, so that when it goes to the soil, it dissolves and then the crops are able to
pick it.
So he says when the report is from the National Cereal Board, he did that simple testing and it couldn't dissolve. So some things are so obvious. You saw what was in the Senate. Well, the Senate had carried from one of the farmers and brought to the Senate. So I think we've really we have what is expected and what is required to show that things were not done correctly. Now, as to whether these processes which Honorable Senator Sige is bringing on board, as to whether we'll be able to go through this process and get to the end, that's another question. Because, you know, at any point, everybody will be trying to, we must say it openly, that there will be attempts to sabotage this process. Because nobody wants to leave office. And there are so many, you know, the networks who have been benefiting from this situation will also be assisted to make sure that nothing changes. So to me, I think as a house, we are now getting a test of time. We need to stand and prove to Kenyans that things have not been done correctly, and it is now time that ministers must take responsibility for their actions. And if you're in charge of a ministry, don't start blaming the sweeper in that ministry. That's why you're earning all these allowances, you're earning this big salary, because at the end of the day, accountability rests in your in your office.
Right. There is a very interesting also development as well, and this I think the president had announced earlier this month or towards the end of last month. I can't really remember, but I remember us really talking about the revision now or the KRA or the budget as it is from to slash it by 350 billion shillings.
Yes,
as you can see.
Yes.
And we can see the editorial cartoon earlier drawn by Victor there. You can see the taxman. We haven't met our collection target yet.
That's true.
Is this a blowback also of the higher taxation? That the more that we've been trying to put up as far as taxes is concerned, we can see the load of diminishing returns really coming to play as it is right now. And I know this will come to the budget committee, right?
Yeah, it should come. You know what happened there? I think
the question I wanted to ask first of all is what was being put by the government unrealistic in the first place?
Obviously. And we did say this from the word go. You remember at one point we were discussing the issue of the Ralph's theory of the CAF, where we were saying there is a rate of taxation you push to, then you collect less.
You became the deflection.
You remember
point,
we discussed that, and
yes.
we were saying one of the things should happen is that could be caused by three items. One item, there could be tax avoidance; those people can't pay. There could also be tax evasion. And the last one, consumers could easily change their consumer behavior in terms of they rationalize their behavior. So I've been eating meat 2 times, I can start eating 1. If I'm eating 5 times, I eat 1. And if I've been fueling my car, which is now currently a 4.0 liter, I switch to my fix, which is 1.0 liter, so that I don't draw as much fuel as I've been drawing. And as a result of that, then the tax which government should have collecting by me drawing 4.0 instead of 1.0, then it means 3.0 will not draw, which means the tax component of that fuel will not be paid. But what has happened, we have been saying there has been always overestimation of our revenue collection. So the projections we give are always ambitious. And as a result of that, that's why you see what happened. This year we had projected to collect about 2.5 trillion. That is the normal revenue, without the air in there. Now, as at now, what we have collected, I think we have collected about as at March 30th, we collected about 1.71 trillion as opposed to about 2.1, which means we have a tax revenue gap of about 300 billion currently. So the estimations by the end of the year, we are likely to be less by 350 billion. And that's why they are saying now, if you have to be realistic to ourselves. Now, these are now figures, you can't change them. It's an issue of modeling.
So the less is what they know will
so
happen.
They're saying now,
it's not really a suggestion that we slashed by 350 billion.
No, it's not a suggestion. It is informed by figures.
It is informed by figures. Yeah.
And then what they're saying is, if you have to be realistic to ourselves, then we would rather amend the expenditure, change the expenditure side of our budget so that we reduce by 350. So that come the end of the year, we'll achieve what would be realistic. But it even complicates it more. The coming budget was, the revenue projections were done with the baseline information as the revenue projection for this year. That is 2.5 trillion. And we project to collect 2.9 trillion, assuming we'll have collected 2.5 trillion. Now we are going to collect 2.2 trillion, and then we are projected to collect 2.9 trillion the coming year. Instead of a gap of about 400 billion, we have now a gap of 700 billion. The question is, are we in a position to add our tax collection in 1 year by 700 billion? The answer is no. So we have a very complicated process as moved to the future.
All right.
So it means currently, and just downwards by 350, and just for the next year again by 350, and it becomes a circle, which to get out of it, you must think outside the box.
Must think out of the box, and it seems also we're in these financial doldrums because as it stands, we have information that, yes, we might be on a very good, happy medium as far as fuel prices are concerned right now, at 193, but the situation in the Middle East also may bring back, that particular high figure that we had before, because it seems a barrel right now should be going back to $100 and beyond. And that also will be reflecting on our fuel pump prices at the end of the day. So it seems we might be celebrating now, or we should make hay as the sun shines right now, but the projections of the government as it stands, I don't know what will be your comment.
My comment is,
before we take a short break.
It is reasonable that if this is what I've been saying all along, that we must respect facts of nature. This is the reality. If it is too painful, you don't think people will just persevere. They change their behavior. So they spend less. So that has been said. But if you have realized that, then obviously you should react to it. So I think at that point, that is an important, a reasonable thing to do. But remember, we have not even factored what the rains have done. Because now, as we are cutting down, our needs have gone up. The infrastructure has been destroyed. Schools, buildings have come down. Farms have been lost. And so things are going to be much worse. The difficult thing is going to be when that proposal of 350 big cuts and it comes to the House, what shall we cut? I think that is where now we'll have to be more realistic and say, this is the areas we are going to cut. In the face of increasing needs like what we have now. So I have no problem when it comes to the House, that's fine, but we then have to look at it very realistically and say, what is it we have to cut?
I think
and so where will you be discussing this, where to cut? In the National Assembly?
It will be also to
you as policy.
There'll be a supplementary budget. Yeah, they have to come as a supplementary budget, and there will be proposals. The government will come with proposals on what you don't then say we are cutting this. So they'll say which areas are you going to cut, and that is where the discussion is going to be really key.
Honorable Roko, before you take a short break.
Yeah, I think it is important for KRA to be given powers to be able to see all individuals in the Republic of Kenya, all small businesses and all businesses in the Republic of Kenya at an angle of 360 degrees, so that they can be able to tax in the most appropriate way. And this can only happen if the Departmental Committee on Budget can probably move an amendment on Data Protection Act. It is hindering the correction of taxes as far as KRA is concerned in a serious way. Safaricom is not able to share data to KRA as far as M-Pesa transactions, whether individual, whether small businesses, whether big businesses. There is a law, there's a section within Data Protection Act, I'm not able to get it here, which should be amended so that everybody can be able to pay fair share of the taxes. If we are able to do that, we will not be talking about KRA not able to get enough taxes. Because there are so many Kenyans who don't pay taxes. So many of them. There are so many businesses across this country who don't pay the correct taxes. If every Kenyan pays fair share of taxes, we will be able to correct enough to transform this nation. So I think a private member's amendment of Data Protection Act may take longer than the committee amendment of Data Protection Act. So we need to do some amendment, and also that will inform how Tax Procedures Act will also be amended to be able to see every business, every Kenyan at an angle of 360. That if we are talking about Dipar, this is Dipar. Yesterday he made this transaction with M-Pesa. He sent to so and so. Dipar bought a piece of land in Kitengera this March. He bought this, whether it is even if you want to hide your money through Roya's account, they are also going to be able to be audited at 360 degrees by Kenya Revenue Authority. At the moment, it's a bit difficult because of the laws which we have. So I think it's critical for us to move as a National Assembly and amend some sections of the law to give KRA proper angle to be able to see everything. And then what will be required is KRA now investing in a system and analytics, a system which can be able to analyze all the transactions and pin them to businesses, to individuals, to companies. So this is something which we need to do for us to stop complaining about KRA is not able to.
All right, we do for a station break right now. When we circle back, of course, we want to look at other issues as well. And we look at what was happening on Friday with the UDA. Of course, poll elections, we saw some altercations on the ground. People are hurt, some in hospital right now, beaten black and blue. ODM has chosen to go the consensus way. Is the competitive elections within UDA also something to look keenly into because it seems that is becoming something that is of a matter of life and death. Also, there is a sugar bill. And this is where the Senate and the National Assembly, they're not seeing eye to eye. There's no concurrence in this as far as the levy is concerned. And we want just to get also clarification on what really happens with this particular amount going to Kera, as it has been suggested by the bill. But it seems there's a bit of controversy there. So the legislators will try and make us understand that as well. We'll take a short break. You're watching Standpoint here on Morning Prime. We have more on the other side of the break.
KTN News. Get the whole story.
April, your kids deserve to enjoy non-stop laughter and entertainment for the holidays. The Salulu is to recharge your subscription and get upgraded to the next high bouquet on StarTimes to enjoy a never-ending lineup of fun shows on our fantastic kids channel.
I'll take it from here. Sam, shoot the ball.
Join Teeny and Tiny as they teach wonderful lessons on Baby TV. Make new friends with the Roblox Rumble Gang. Join Inspector Gadget as he solves puzzles on Cartoon Channel. Save the world with Ben 10 on Boing TV or learn the wonders of science on the Da Vinci Channel. Recharge on your current bouquet and get upgraded to the next high bouquet for 1 month. Download StarTimes on app for unlimited entertainment. Anytime, anywhere. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.